Today marks 20 years since NATO started its bombing campaign against then Yugoslavia. What NATO claimed was a humanitarian operation to help the country's separatists, locals saw as a regime change campaign in which thousands were killed. NATO became involved in Yugoslavia in March 1999 after sectarian tensions between Serbians and Kosovan Albanians became violent. The alliance backed the latter. Without any UN mandate, NATO bombed Yugoslavia for almost 3 months in a row, leaving many parts of Serbia devastated. Well, this Sunday, people took to the streets of Belgrade, the former Yugoslav capital. They condemned the NATO bombing that ended Serbia's rule over a territory that many who gathered still view as their nation's historic heartland. RT America correspondent Alex Mikhailovich has more now on the anniversary of the conflict.
This was Serbia 20 years ago. On March 24th, 1999, a ruthless NATO campaign against the small Balkan nation began.
I was there at the time, so I'm going to take you through a bit of a personal journey.
At that time, I was living here, Serbia's third largest city, Novi Sad, which seemed to be 1 million miles away from the battles in Kosovo. That very evening, I was chilling out on the couch, watching TV with my dog, when suddenly the earth started shaking and the sky turned a bright red. Without warning, the airstrikes had begun. After the first explosion, I ran down these stairs, trying to get out of the house, not knowing where the next bomb was going to hit. And second, I stopped out this door, looked up in the sky, and there was a cruise missile flying over the house over there. Seconds later, another explosion. That Tomahawk missile hit a target in the hills above Novi Sad. It was one of 55 U.S. cruise missiles used against Yugoslavia that night, followed shortly after by hundreds of fixed-wing bombing operations.
While NATO failed to destroy most military targets, it was effective when it came to killing civilians.
This is the city of Niš in southern Serbia. It's the location of one of the most serious bombings of the NATO campaign. The event happened May 7th, 1999. Cluster bombs dropped, 15 people dead. In the middle of the day, one of those bombs killed a 27-year-old woman who was 7 months pregnant.
Did you see that? It happened on the Grdelica Bridge. On April 12, 1999, NATO planes targeted a civilian passenger train not once, but twice. At least 9 people died in the incident. Some say the number could be as high as 60. Today, the bridge where the attack occurred has been rebuilt. Walking around the site, which has become a monument to the dead, you can't help but reflect on the horror that happened here.
NATO claimed that its actions were motivated by, quote, numerous human rights violations in Kosovo. The alliance says that its airstrike campaign achieved its goal, which was to halt any military activity and repression in the region. We spoke to Dr. William Novick, who was working in Yugoslavia with a team of US doctors and nurses in March 1999. We asked him about his experience on the day the bombing began.
The air raid signals started going off not long after sundown, and the bombs started dropping within a few minutes after that. We were at a very critical juncture on operating on this child, and I looked up from the child's chest and said, listen, you know, my country, for whatever reason, is bombing your country tonight, and a number of your countrymen are going to die, but this child that is on the table, that is 10 days old, is not going to die tonight. We're going to take this child safely downstairs, and then all of you can go home to your families. I want to tell you that that was one of the most horrific nights that I've experienced. The Children's Intensive Care Unit is on the top floor, and there's a balcony that goes about 70% of the way around the building. I went outside with my coffee, and I saw a number of fighter bombers as well.